Hey there, Squirrel Army! We're here to discuss how worth it tutors are in EDH. If you're enjoying the content here, you can join the Squirrel Army by subscribing and turning on the notifications. Alrighty, so we're discussing how worth it tutors are in EDH, and again, I'm talking more about casual metagames and whatnot, not CDH, because essentially in CDH you basically just have to run tutors, and you have to run as many as possible because it's a completely different format and it's a completely different way of playing. I'm not going to talk about that because it's definitely one of the things that makes EDH worth it, and I do think that running some tutors in EDH can certainly be worth it. I find that I don't like tutors personally because I'm very bad at using tutors unless it's very, very clear what I'm tutoring for. Like Gitrog Monster, the thing that you tutor for in that deck is the Dredged Land, so that you can dredge your whole deck, cycle through your deck, and essentially just win off being able to cast something like black, whatever it is, not black market, dark ritual, infinite amount of times, cycling it through your deck and so forth, and then having infinite mana to play everything basically at some point in your deck. So that's the idea with that. It's a very simple, like that's very clear. But for the most part, again, I don't want to do that. I played somebody's deck that was like that, and I was just like, well, that's the thing. You guys got to stop me. This is a powerful deck and whatnot. But I wouldn't play a deck like that, and I wouldn't design a deck like that because that's not the way that I want to play, and that's not my idea of game and idea of fun and whatnot in the game. So that's not me. But again, I do think the tutors are valuable, but the big problem besides money, which is a huge problem for a lot of people, is, and especially even if you say, well, a lot of the tutors have been reprinted, they're still like $20+ for a lot of the decent tutors and whatnot, $15 to $20. So not everyone can afford that. But again, the other problem with tutors is it's so much better to just find some 2-card or whatever infinite combo than it is to just find the card that's an answer to something. Because I always get that, well, just tutor for answers. Well, I could just tutor 2 cards or whatever it is if I have another one of my cards in hand and just be like, oh, okay, cool, I've got these 2 cards, they combo together, oh, cool, I win. I solved the problem, but I also won. So it also becomes that problem of being like, well, I can just win. It's so much easier for me to deal with that problem if I win, and then I win. Huzzah! And whatnot. So, that's the issue to me, is that it's so much better, in a sense, to run the tutors that are limiting what you can find, because it's like, well, I can only find an instant or sorcery or whatever it is, or I can only find a 5-drop or higher, or whatever it is, again. So my options are limited, or I can only find a 2-drop or less, whatever it is, again. Still, there's so many things that you can just do with a lot of these 2-drops, or these 6-drops, or whatever it is, that it's like, oh, okay, well, I'll just find Craterhoof Behemoth, and then next turn, oh, Craterhoof Behemoth, whatever, or, again, a lot of the tutors are 1 or 2 mana, so it's just like, oh, okay, cool, well, it didn't find me my combo, but it found me the win condition, so it's just so much easier to be like, I don't need, Artifact or Enchantment, or, I don't need Swords to Plowshares, or I don't need, Creature Removal, or whatever. I don't need any of that. I don't need, my Land Destruction card, or whatever it is, to get rid of somebody's Cabal Coffers, or whatever it is. I just need to get Craterhoof Behemoth and win. Lol, huzzah, I've done it. See you guys next game. That's the problem with tutors. And not that, again, that's not worth it, but it's just one of those things that it makes the games of very samey games, and that's why I really don't like tutors personally, because I don't want that consistency I do like a certain amount of consistency, which sometimes is a bit annoying. I don't really, and this is one thing that a lot of people will disagree or agree to disagree with me on, is that I don't count, green ramp spells like Nature's Law, 3 Visits, Fast Seek, whatever, all that sort of land-grabbing stuff as tutors. It is a tutor in a sense, yes, I get that, but again, I don't think it's actually a tutor, and I don't know whether this video actually came out now, but I do remember that I was actually making it, but I can't remember if it actually came out. That we were talking about green ramp, and that basically that's green's, 2-mana mana rock. Oh, this is just my 2-mana mana rock. The only thing is that my actual mana rock is somewhere in my deck, and I just have to find it and get it out. So that's it. That's my mana rock right there. There's me paying 2 mana, and I just have to find my mana rock, and it comes to the field. That's all it's doing. So essentially, that's what green's ramp is. It's just, oh, here's my mana rock, except it's in my deck. But yeah, and again, that's, to me, not tutoring. Yes, it technically is, I get it. Fetch lands are tutoring as well, but it's not tutoring for anything, for the most part, that can win me the game. Because a basic land or a forest can't win me the game. It can give me more mana, but it can't win me the game, and it can't answer a problem permanent on my opponent's side. Now, yes, if I need 1 more mana, or I need, whatever it is, green mana, or I need blue mana, or whatever it is that's attached to that green mana, or whatever it is, white mana, or whatever it is, then yes, that does help me by getting that land that helps me fix for my colors or whatnot. But beyond that, it doesn't actually, enable me anymore to do whatever else, that a tutor would. So, because tutors, for the most part, are, secret information. That, or it's, there are some tutors that are straight to the battlefield, but they're often encumbered by another card. You don't just play your tutor most of the time to be like, oh, I just tutor for something random or whatever it is. You're tutoring something to be like, oh, okay, cool, I'm going to tutor for this thing, and then I'm going to play this other thing. Oh, look, I have Scurry Oak and whatnot and this other thing, so I'll go infinite burp and make infinite squirrels. Huzzah! I didn't need to kill that thing because now I've got infinite squirrels and whatnot. But again, as I said, I was saying that I do like consistency to a sense, and some people say you can't have any consistency without having tutors, but I think you can have a lot of consistency without having tutors, as long as you have a fair amount of duplication in effects, essentially. So Nature's Law and 3 Visits, Rampant Growth, Fast Seek, all of these Sakura Tribe Elders sort of effects that are 2 mana, whatever it is, go searching for a land. Essentially a ramp spell. Or your 2 mana mana rocks. You have 10 of them. Again, whatever ones you have, whatever. Your signets or your talismans or whatever it is and whatnot. So you have all that stuff so that you can hit 1 of them or 2 of them per game so that you can ramp hopefully on turn 2, turn 3, or fairly quickly so that you can get going along with your game plan throughout the rest of the game. And, you hope, especially with mana rocks, that they survive long enough for you to get decent value out of them. And at least until you get decent amount of lands into play and whatnot. Because at that point, you don't really need them. Because you're sort of caught up to the rest of the table in terms of mana. But anyway, as I was saying, in the earliest part of this, yes, tutors are worth running in many cases, but how many is the question. And as you go further and further up in the power rankings and whatnot, as far as precon, upgraded precon, above upgraded precon or casually competitive decks. And then into like CDH, you get to see more and more tutors that actually, are real tutors because they search for an instant sorcery, they search for an artifact, they search for equipment, they search for any card, whatever it is. They search for all different things. So those are real tutors. They, find something that's just not a land. Now, Dryad Arbor, you could argue that that's a good target or whatever for some of that stuff. It's not just a land, it's a mana dork. But then again, it's just a mana dork. So essentially, in that sense, it's the same thing. Getting a mana dork, to me, isn't too scary. It's not really worth the time, in my opinion, to sort of do for the most part, unless you're playing CDH. Because in casual metagames, it's just not as relevant. So yeah, I think you've got to take that step back and actually assess what power level you're at or what power level you want to be at. And some decks do need a higher level of tutors because their set of win conditions or whatnot are a lot less than what certain other, colors win conditions are. Like green. Green has a lot of really good win conditions and whatnot for the most part because it has a lot of creatures. So it can just beat people down pretty easily and just run out the game. So it doesn't really need that many things to tutor for because it's like, well, that doesn't... obviously green has tutors like any other color, but again, you don't need to tutor as much because you've just got really good creatures and you've got a lot of stuff to just kill people with, so you don't really need to do too much tutoring. And in a sense, you could say like Azorius, when you look at Azorius Flyers, you could say, well, that deck doesn't really need tutors. Of course, because again, you've just got all these flyers and you just smack people with your flyers and you'll kill people eventually. So you really don't need tutors. But those are sort of the dummy decks of the format, and everyone, even me knows that. I know I play dummy decks. That's fine with me, dude. That's where I like playing. I like playing my dummy decks that are just like, it's a deck with a whole bunch of stuff that does stuff and gives you benefits. It's just flyers.deck and a whole bunch of stuff that draws you cards or makes tokens or does this or does that or whatever. It gives you different effects, gives you plus one counters, gives you life, whatever. Does all this other stuff. That's my kind of, speed of a deck. It's like, okay, cool. I'm making squirrels by making tokens. I'm doing this by doing this. When I attack in my Ishin deck, I'm doing this, this, and this, whatever. I get all these triggers. I draw these cards. I get these clues, whatever. All this kind of stuff. So I get benefits for what I'm doing in general for the most part. And that straightforward, straight ahead, whatever, aggro style strategy that doesn't require much more thought to it. Okay, how much damage is it? Okay, cool, I'm going to block this, block that, whatever. And the same on the other end is like when people are attacking me. It's like, oh, okay, cool, you're attacking me with your 6/6 trampler. Okay, cool, I'm going to block this with this or whatever. It's much more simple to me and I prefer that and have much more fun with it. That's just my way of playing and whatnot. Not to say that some other people don't play other things, but again, that's most of what the game is. It's all about, strategy and whatnot between people that are attacking each other and whatnot. And that's the relevant metagame that we're in. Even though, again, it's above, upgraded precons. So again, we're in that weird space sometimes in that regard. But again, it is what it is. But still, getting back to the point and sort of trying to knock the bow on it, it is so difficult to figure out how many tutors you need and for what colors and for what purpose. And again, I think that some people are a bit too scared or too over-reliant on, well, I need to do this because otherwise I'm just playing that dummy deck type strategy. I want to be playing a more tricky deck, and that's fine if you want to be playing a bit more trickily and whatnot, or I want to win with this, or I want to win with that. Oh, look, here I've got my Bowl Citadel, so now I can play all the stuff that I have off the top. I might find Grey Merchant of Asphodel, play that, get a whole bunch of life back, and then keep casting more things and whatnot, things like that. So that's the kind of idea of the deck. Lower your life, lower your life, lower your life. Gary, get back all your life, keep playing things, that kind of idea. So to find your, Bolus of Citadel, you'll need, tutors sometimes because you've only got that one copy of your Bolus of Citadel. And again, like I say, within the 99, well, it's really hard to find things that synergize really well when they're in the 99, or things you really want to be doing when they're in the 99. It's like, oh, okay, I've only got that one copy of it. Well, that's kind of bad when you don't have that duplication. Okay, so I want duplication where I can't get it. So that's is maybe the only option for me, because I really need to try to get that Bolus of Citadel to turn on my game plan or whatever. I'm in this life game plan, so I need to be able to spend life to gain life, to spend life, to gain life, to spend life, so that I can enact my strategy or whatnot of doing this and doing that and whatnot. So not just sitting here at 1,000,000 life or whatever, because most, that's not worth it to me. Gaining the life and then losing life and doing other stuff with it is much more relevant to me and whatnot. So again, it fuels a lot of different strategies that just rely on having those cards that don't have another copy. But for the most part, again, it's like that's a cool little value piece. And yes, it might eventually win the game to a degree. It's probably just easier and better to be like, oh, okay, cool. Even if you do get Bolus of Citadel, okay, well, I'm just going to play, also go and tutor for Sensei's Divining Top, draw my entire deck, and then, play my whole deck, or whatever it is, or whatnot, however you win at that point, especially if you're like in mono black or whatever, but maybe you're in Demir or whatever it is, and you're just like, that's Oracle. So, but that's the, like, haha, I have assembled the combo or whatever win, or whatever, or Labman or whatever it is, things like that. It's just like, haha, I have done it, I have won. But having those backup strategies isn't bad. I'm just not one for it. I don't like them either. But again, it's just one of those strategies people fall back onto, that crux of, well, I'll win with it, so why not play it? And in a sense, yes, and again, if you want to play it and you like it and you really think that that's a cool strategy or whatnot to win by, then that's fine. And if your play group's fine with it, that's all cool. And I'll be fine with it too if you do it. But that's the thing, about it. It's just one of those things that exists in this game where it's like you do have to take that knowledge and go, well, it would be just so much easier for me just to win with this tutor, or find ways to win with this tutor rather than just playing a value piece, or playing, or finding my removal spell, or finding my protection spell, or finding this or finding that. It'd be just better for me to cut down to the 2 or 3 combos that I have in this deck, a whole bunch of tutors, and a whole bunch of protection. And then at that point, you're start basically just playing a watered-down version of CDH. So it's just like, oh, okay, that's cool. And it's like, I don't know, that's where it waters the game down to me. It's like, oh, okay, cool. So now we're just playing 100-card Singleton Legacy. Again, I don't know. That's just me. I don't know. I want to play the game and not know who's going to win because somebody's tutored their combo on turn 2. That's cool. That's great. Well done you. The rest of us might just continue this game because weren't looking for that. We just want to actually play and see what happens and do shenanigans and do different things and whatnot. So it is all about the playgroup, as I sort of say, and whatnot, and the power level that you're looking for. So there's lots to consider with running tutors and how many you want to run and why you want to run them. And, that whole path of, well, it's probably just better that if I find 2 cards and just be like, I win, dudes. So you've got to get around that point of being like, okay, cool. So I'm not going to put those cards in there deliberately. I'm just going to put good cards in that fit with my theme, and I really, really want to find these 1 or 2 cards that I only have 1 copy of, to help me out to do certain shenanigans that I have in my deck. So, of course, you can do that. And as I say, like, tutors are very versatile and very useful. Everyone knows that. But again, it's just so difficult for me as an individual player to recommend people not play them, because people are going to play them one way or the other, with it, either me saying they're bad, good, indifferent, or whatever. It doesn't matter. Like, if what I say to a degree, I'm just trying to have a discourse. And that's all I ever try to do on this channel, is just have that discourse of people to be like, you know what? Those are some good points or whatever. And that's it, you know, like, or whatever. So that's pretty much it. But anyway, guys, you guys can let me know what you guys think. Write your thoughts down there in the comments below. I'll be sure to look at them and respond to you guys as well. As much as I can. But yeah, if I don't see you down there in those comments, hope to see you in the next one.